All right, Sandy, welcome to the
Hi.
show.
What'd you say?
I said, welcome to the show. We're live. This is Off Market with Marty Grizzanti. You're the second guest of my show. My
Second is
show,
the
my,
best.
my show originally was called Very Cool Real Estate Show. And I decided that although it was an awesome name, we really talk a lot about off-market deals. We really talk about what that entails. I have what I believe is a motto that I live by, which is there's the law of the first deal. Okay. And I didn't come up with the law of the first deal. The law of the first deal was something I heard from Michael Blanc, which is a large syndicator apartment building investor. And the whole idea is once you do a deal, things start to happen where you just do more deals. You just need that first one, right? But there's the law, Sandy, and I think you'd agree with me. That's why I'm having you here. That's why I think you're such an important guest today, is the law of the first off-market deal. Because don't you agree, once you go off-market, it's really hard to go back as an investor? What are your thoughts there?
So you mean as far as purchasing or as far as wholesaling or?
Yeah, like in general, like why would you want to have to fight, okay, as a buyer on an
Absolutely.
MLS?
Absolutely.
Right, when you can just take it by yourself with you and the seller, just having a nice conversation. Why get everybody else involved, right?
I definitely agree with that.
Come on now.
Yeah, I would definitely have to say I have never purchased a property off the MLS.
Right.
Even though I'm a licensed realtor, I enjoy selling them. I enjoy, putting them up for sale on the MLS. Definitely a great selling tool. But if you're a wholesaler or you're an investor that's looking to purchase, the best deals are always going to be off market.
Why is that, you think?
Off. You said what?
Yeah, why is it always the best off market in your opinion?
Because you're not right now. You don't have to compete with all the other multiple offers. Secondly, you don't have to deal with brokerages. You don't have to deal with commission fees. You don't have to deal with all that paperwork. It's very just a standard exclusive right to sell contract. Some people do provide the PCD and lead, but for the most part, it's a 6-page contract and it gets to the point. Seller signs, buyer signs, you have your attorneys, and it's pretty sweet from there.
And that's from an agent's point of view, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an agent and I do some wholesaling, so it's a little bit of both. It really just depends when someone speaks to me, what they're looking to do. If they're looking to just get out quick and it's not important to them, it depends on how much money they're trying to make, and then I decipher if it's going to be a wholesale deal or if it's going to be MLS.
Because there's times, Sandy, that, and I want to get into your story here, but I think this is a really important topic. There's times where it's important, or it's even better for the seller to work with as as more of like an assignment type deal, wholesale type deal, than it is to list it with an agent, because maybe they don't have enough to pay the agent, right? Maybe they don't have enough pay. Maybe there's a lot that's there that they may not be able to do. They may not be able to do the closing costs, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why someone would want to sell a property to a wholesaler. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what are some of the reasons?
Well, I definitely agree with portion of it. I'm half and half. I am part real estate agent, but the good thing I like in it is, especially when I'm doing the assignment, I know the buyer. They're my buyer.
Oh, that's a good point.
And I'm not going to sell, or I'm not going to assign my contract to someone they have to have a track record of already purchasing properties with me. Depending on the size of the assignment, if it's a pretty big assignment, I'm going to lock that up probably with somebody who's well versed in investing, and it's probably on their 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th. They at least, depending on the size of the assignment, let's say it's like a $10,000 assignment fee, which is pretty sweet. And it was like, let's just say a dilapidated house or a cheap house. I'm probably, with that much of an assignment fee on the line, I'm probably not going to sell to like somebody who's like, oh, I'm just getting my feet wet and I want to buy a house. Because there's a chance that they may get nervous, they may back out, they may be unexperienced. And so when I see something like that, I would want to assign my contract to a buyer that I know who is well versed in it. And they have had multiple properties, because I know that they're going to come to the closing table. And if not, I'm gonna go Sandy on them. No, I'm just kidding.
No, and that's a really good point, because you're protecting your seller, right? You know, you're looking to make sure that that buyer is going to perform. And I know this as a seller myself. We just listed a property on Hazelwood, the Beechwood area of Rochester.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I seen it.
And the buyer back, it didn't go through. Yeah. So that just happened 2 days ago. So look at that as an example. If I was someone who needed that money, right, and I was counting on 30 days for that to close so that I could take this and go and have a medical procedure done, or visit a loved one that may be, you know, dying, all these things that are important reasons why people sell, so that they can kind of move on. That right there is more than enough, or more than a good reason why someone shouldn't list it with an agent, and they should then go with someone who is going to be a cash buyer. Because yes, you may not get exactly the amount at the very top of the market you're looking for, but what you're going to get is someone who will close, and will is so much better than maybe for a lot of people, right? So that's really important. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I think this is a really interesting topic, and I think you're the best person to really talk on this as an agent, licensed agent, and as an experienced veteran in the wholesaling game. Tell me this story, because I think it's important for our viewers. You are an agent. You've been doing this for how long?
Okay, so I first started off wholesaling first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started off wholesaling first, and I was connected with a few guys, and I was actually doing assignments directly from the county steps. So the county
Explain that process a bit. What do you mean by that?
It's almost the same as doing a regular assignment. You're just doing an assignment of bid. And so whoever went down to the county steps and they bid, they have the option to assign their bid to a end buyer. So it's almost the same thing that we do. It's just that they're going down to the county building and raising their hand and getting it under contract, and then just assigning it over.
Interesting.
So I had a really big group of people down there that I was working with, and still do. It's just been tough because, you know, there hasn't been any auctions lately. Right. But 4 or 5 years ago, when I first started my business, one of my partners that I partner with now, he was heavy down there. And I remember the time he was buying houses for like $4,000 and $5,000, which is unheard of now. And when I first started, I was selling the $10,000 and the $15,000. I mean, I was selling the low end houses.
Sure.
And you know what's so funny is I felt so bad back then. Like, damn, I wish I would have had like the $200,000 houses. But it paid off for me, because like now I'm in a position to where I'm buying the cheaper houses. And because of the seed that I sowed years ago, those leads constantly come to me now. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, well, it's a cheap house, we'll call Sandy. Or, you know, it doesn't have a roof, we'll call Sandy. Oh, there's no furnaces or hot water things. Yeah, let's call Sandy. Like, you know, they broke in and there's squatters in there. Let's call Sandy. So it's really paid off for me now. I'm glad that I was able to save some money up over the course of those years. And actually, I can move forward and actually purchasing some of those. I can pick or choose whether I want to buy it, whether I want to wholesale it, or whether I want to list it. And that's really, really cool.
That's very powerful, because now you're what people call a 5-tool player, right? You don't have to just do one thing to it. You can have you have a tool belt full of different possibilities. When you get a property that comes across your desk, you don't have to just try to wholesale it. You can take it down yourself and as a rental. You can wholesale it, maybe buy it and then relist it. You can list it as the agency, right?
I could tell the other wholesalers to back off and let us get the deal. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you also have a personality that, hey, it is Sandy's game. This is Sandy's business. But that's true, because a lot of people, when they think of properties, if they can think of you, that's a beautiful thing, because then you're first on their mind, so that you're constantly in action. You're constantly have deals, right? That's what we want. We want to always have people when they think real estate, think of, Marty or think of Sandy, right? In those different cases. So, okay, well, that's awesome. And then, something happened this week. You just closed on a property, right?
I did.
Congratulations. So tell me about how this deal happened, how this occurred, how you funded it. Let me go into it. How'd you find it?
Well, what's funny is because it was actually an estate sale. And it's very good to have, it's good to use certain people, well, when I say that, like, for instance, people have their go-to lawyer, right? And maybe that's who they use and that's all they use. But as you grow in business, you understand that it's good to have a variety, of people to use. And so my go-to lawyer is Steve Peterson, but there was actually another lawyer. He's like closer to maybe retiring now. And because of that, I'm one of his, he does a lot of business with me. And so he basically called me and was like, listen, there's this house and I think you should list it. But I went there and I saw the house and I was like, oh no, I'm going to buy it. And so we went under contract, believe it or not, Martin, guess when we originally went under contract with that house that I bought yesterday?
Well, it's New York State, so probably 60 days ago.
No.
I would say, I'm not even surprised, probably 6 months ago.
Keep going.
Okay, about a year ago?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm
So
not surprised.
This particular sale was an estate sale. I locked it up last November. And the actual woman who stayed in the house, she was handicapped. She was in a wheelchair. And because of that, she wasn't able to do the normal functions like go into the attorney's office and sign the paperwork and whatever documents that they have going back and forth throughout the entire deal. She couldn't do that because she was in the wheelchair. Second, it was also COVID. So a lot of people were not okay with going to her house and having them sign. So they would leave the paperwork there. She would sign it. They go back 2 weeks later, pick it up. So it just really took a long time to close. But honestly, I wasn't even worried. I knew that it was going to close in the right time it was supposed to close for me. And that was now. I had the money to rehab it. I had the money to do what I need to do. I actually jumped out on I didn't even know how I was going to rehab that house. I just went for it.
So how'd you find it? It was a referral then from the attorney?
It was a referral for me as an agent because I take the lower end listings and a lot of agents don't want to do that. So I always have a track record of taking the lower end listings. And so now a lot of attorneys know that. So they contact me. So I was first on the deal. And when they said they wanted to list it, I was like, no, I want to buy it. And then I just wrote the offer up and put it under contract. And I'm glad I didn't list it because nobody was going to wait a year to close on that property. That would have been a nightmare. And so I'm glad I actually did put it under contract and I bought it. So.
And that's amazing because now that's number, I think 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. So the one that I'm in now, you guys can see I just did some work.
This is your house hack.
Huh?
This is like a house hack, so to speak. So you're living in it right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like 95% done. I don't think anybody's house is ever 100% done. No, right? Okay. So I bought this from the actual county steps 2.5 years ago, March of 2018. Actually, 3 years ago. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
March of 2018, I bought this. And I actually got it from one of our buddies. Actually, I don't know if you know them. Do you know Pat Lungsworthy and Kevin Golden and Larry?
Yep. Those guys are always at the footsteps. Those guys are always at the courthouse.
Those are my buddies right there. So I actually wound up getting this. I think it was from either Kevin or Pat or Larry, one of them. And they bought it for a certain price. And then I purchased it for around 25. By the time I closed, I was at like 28. So I would say I purchased it for 28. I put quite a bit of work into it, actually.
Go ahead, show it off. Let's see.
Yeah, so I put quite a bit of work into it. I don't know if you guys can see. It's hard. Can I flip this, Martin?
You know,
Oh
it's
no, wait.
your iPad, so
Don't start. Oh man, front camera. Okay, back camera. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so like I said, little bit of works. I just the reason why this is here is because I just had this light put in, but
yeah,
this is
looks good. Yeah, it looks like
yeah.
you just did that porch because that wasn't done before when you.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, you come pick up your checks right here. So as you can see, I still all this was done. I just got my ceiling done.
That looks great.
Yeah, recently. So excuse my this is my little living room office.
Yeah, work is getting done. That's good.
But I definitely dumped a lot of, I don't want to say dumped. I put like a lot of money into my kitchen.
Good.
So this is kind of what the kitchen looks like.
Yeah, it looks really nice now.
Yeah, and damn, I wish I had some pictures. I do have pictures. I'm just not sure how to put them up. Get them to you so that people are able to see the before and after. But I mean, I bought it for 30, so I know you can only imagine. What I really
but that was a big risk on your part.
Yeah, I didn't have the money.
Yeah, right.
Hold on 1 second. I'm turning the camera on. Yeah, so the funny thing is when I purchased this house, I didn't even have all the money. I only had like about 16 or 17 grand. And I didn't have money to rehab it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm sorry for people who are not religious, but the Lord came down and was like, listen, honey, this is your house. And there was no plan B. Like you said, Martin, there was just a plan A, and I had to make it happen.
So
I didn't do what some people do. I know a lot of people do the hard money lenders, but because I had 17, so I was really only 10,000 away from what I needed to close. So I basically just went out and got a personal loan at I think it was 11% for 9,000, and just paid that off so quick. And then it was rough. I lived here for a long time in dust, drywall, shellac smells. It was really rough. I did wind up getting a few grants from the city of Rochester, which was nice. I did get my furnace replaced and my hot water tank replaced, and NYSERDA came through and did some things for me as a homeowner. But it was definitely a different way of purchasing a house for a first-time home buyer. Most people normally go through a realtor and do all that. But for me, I just knew that nobody was going to approve me for a loan. I mean, a mortgage. Especially because when I bought it, I had just started my real estate career and I was self-employed. So I had a nice chunk of money, but I know I wasn't going to be able to qualify for a first-time home buyers program because part of that is being employed for 2 years straight with a nice, with a steady income. And I wasn't able to provide that at the time. I just had money saved. So, yeah.
Well, no, what's really interesting and what's really cool about that is that, number one, you're doing things that not a lot of people would do. So you kind of thought outside the box. There's not people who would be willing to live like that. However, because you did, now you own that property. Don't you own that free and clear?
Yes, sir.
Think about that. So people that aren't willing to kind of take that punch, so to speak, of living in an area where the house isn't quite done the way that they would love it to be. But if you work at it, and you did, because 3 years goes by fast, right? Now you're done. You're basically done. You're right there. And now the amount of money and equity that you've gained in that property, yeah, you spent a good chunk, but the amount of equity now that you've built into that house, you could sell it and make a ton of money. But at the same time, you don't owe a mortgage on it. You don't have this crazy looming bill every month that you have to pay for a mortgage. Think about that. How many people are renting right now? And I'm sure you tell a lot of your buyers, hey, stop renting when you can buy. Yes, it might not be the exact property you want, but then you have ownership of that property. And we all know that wealth is created through ownership of homes, right? So that's how a lot of people get their initial wealth kickoff, is through that. And what's really cool about it is 3 years ago, you had just bought a house. It was your first property, right? And now look at now 3 years in, now you have 3 houses that you own, and you have a business that's kicking ass, and you're doing all the things that, you want to do. And that's what's so cool about real estate, is that it just gives you the freedom to not have to follow a certain path of, hey, I'm working at this business, or, I'm working for somebody, and this is the amount of money that I'll always be able to make, right? This, I'll always make $30,000, $40,000 a year, or $50,000 a year, whatever it is. And that's just my salary, and that's what it is. And that's really okay for some people. But, maybe you have to start out at 0, but then you can make as much money as you possibly want. And now you're building wealth through different investments. It's a really cool story. And I think it's really important that people hear this, because you can do it. Just like I did it, right, Sandy? And if you did it and I did it, anybody can do it. Is that fair to say?
Hell yeah, you can do it.
Yeah,
that's where that was from. You can do it.
Exactly. You can do it. And here's the other thing. So, all right, let's get back to you got the 3 properties, and now you're listing properties. What's the day-to-day look like for you? So do you wake up and you got properties waiting for you to assign, or how does that work? How do you find them now?
For the most part, I try to use my calendar. I have a schedule, and there is free time during the week, but it seems like I have emergency calls, and like my day just gets filled up. Oh, I need a listing, or oh, I gotta have comps pulled, or oh, I'm thinking about selling this house. So I might go into Monday with maybe 5 or 6 appointments, but by the time Friday comes around, I went on 12 appointments, because I get referrals. People just call me. I'm being a realtor. You're really ripping and running. You're on the go. In real estate in general, I'm pretty sure, whether you're an investor and you're running back and forth to Home Depot, whatever it is, when you're in real estate, you're just running around. So my day is always really crazy. Like later, after I get off this phone call, I have to go put my face on. And then I have to go to the Black Caucus of Realtor. We have an event tonight. And that's going to go from like 3:45 until 7. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be meeting with your buddy. What is his name? Oh my goodness. The Hawley Street guy.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah.
So because Sandy and I do a lot of business together. And that's why I wanted her on the show, because I like to have people who are doers, right? And not just talkers. Although we could probably do both, right, Sandy? We can talk and do it. And so, but no, that's great. So,
but I'm meeting him later because he might be coming to Keller Williams, and so I'm gonna have a recruiting appointment.
Great.
So I've definitely been busy. I have a few girls that I'm working with now, and I'm trying to form my team.
Now, what does that look like as an agent who's trying to get their team together, right? So, like, how does that work through Keller Williams?
It's so much. I don't even know. I'm just starting it now. So I'm learning with the girls. Like, we're all learning together. But we have a home buyer seminar on Saturday that I'm trying to get ready for also. So that's going to be cool. We have
where's that?
Keller Williams in Brighton.
Okay.
Yep. So we have the insurance company coming out. We have M&T Bank, Mickey Concepcion coming out. Ty Concepcion with Market View Heights Association. She has a $30,000 grant. She's going to be coming to talk about it. I also have a credit repair specialist. So if anybody needs help with their credit, they'll be there. And then also me and the other 3 agents on my team, we're going to be there as well. So I'm very excited for that event. We're going to have food, and it's just going to be really nice. So
that's great. And that's something that is M&T going to be helping sponsor that for you?
Yes, they already gave me the money for the food and everything. And State Farm also is partnering with the sponsorship. In December, I'm going to be doing another client appreciation event, and I'm going to have an open bar. So
Wow.
Prime Lending, which is a mortgage company, they will be sponsoring that.
I'll be there.
You will?
Well, I should be invited.
You are.
Yeah. Okay.
You are. You'll be there, Martin. So I'm excited.
That's great.
This year is probably one of the best years yet for me. Like, honestly, was the year of harvest. And I feel like the last 2 years I just was sowing the seed, and I just can't wait to go get the Benz next, just being humble right now, just buying my little properties. But, I really want to be in that Benz soon because Martin, you don't even have a fancy car yet.
No, you don't need a fancy car. Yeah, we've talked about this, right? Isn't it?
But I'm a realtor, so I feel like it's a little different.
Sure. I mean, you need something safe and reliable for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You want to show up in a all blacked out Mercedes Benz. I get it.
Not yet.
Well, you're on your way.
I got one more house
to buy first. You want to buy one more house?
Yeah,
first?
I have a house that I got from the city auction. Actually, it was like a private. They haven't done auctions in a while, but there was an auction, surplus auction, and it was only like 16 or something houses, but they're very strict. If you have a violation on any of your houses, you can't go. What else? There was a lot of requirements to get inside this auction, but I do have one under contract. This is also from last November, believe it or not. And it's still under contract. But it's like 600 and something square feet, and it's over by the stadium. And I'm going to Airbnb it, I think, because it's 600 square feet. So I don't really see the value in a 1-bedroom unless I'm going to Airbnb it, maybe to a traveling nurses, maybe to the airline companies, have a contract with them. I don't know. I'm going to be creative, but 600 square feet. So I'm going to dress it up real nice and Airbnb it. So I'm excited for that little project. That's coming soon.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'll be interested to know how the Airbnb model goes for you. We don't have an Airbnb property here with my partner and I, but we have always thought about it, and we might need to, because we just got ourselves into a flip that it may not work out. So we might have to keep it and then
and make some money off of it
and try to figure out a different way. Yeah. Right.
Well, I have a buddy who has a house in that same location, and he's in the city, and he makes like $3,000 to $4,000 in the city.
Yeah, that's an interesting spot to Airbnb, because that's not exactly where you'd think that there'd be a lot of Airbnbs. Like, what were we talking about? Like Grape Street and like that over there?
Smith. But I have a buddy who already has one on Smith, and he's making like $3,500, and I'm like, and I know my house is gonna be like, nice.
Yeah.
Style to it. So, I think I'll have like some better color schemes and decorations than him. I don't know. I just think that I'm ready for the challenge, and I'm excited to see. There's a lot of new builds in that area. I'm not sure what Rochester has for that area, but I know when I went to the auction, somebody was fighting me to not fighting me to get it, but like we were bidding against each other, and so it was a popular property.
Yeah, no kidding. And how much did you buy that for?
$4,000.
Shit.
It needs like $20,000 worth of work though, but I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
I will figure it out.
That's the beauty of this business. Once you figure it out once, you could do it again and again and again. And that's our model. That's our motto and our model. We'll figure it out, right? And it doesn't always go our way, but you'll learn something, and then you could use it for the next time, right?
Yes. I mean, I definitely went through a lot of contractors. I went through a lot of people, and I think especially because I'm a girl, I'm a little bit more that contractors it's like a girl going to a mechanic, and the mechanic saying, oh, you got this, and this wrong. But maybe if a guy's like, dude, stop playing. I know it just needs an alternator, and I feel like, not saying that girls don't flip houses and stuff like that, but
it's certainly predominantly a male business. Yeah, right.
So I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. At one point, I actually had a flood in my house because I had some cheap labor for my bathroom upstairs. And whenever they put the shark bites back together, it wasn't done right. And basically, I don't know where I was for like a couple of days. I came back and my whole basement was flooded because the pressure from the, they didn't do the plumbing right. And the pressure from the water, I don't know. It looked like Jumanji, like a monsoon in your lagoon.
Yeah. That's brutal. That's brutal. And that's part of the business though. You got to take those punches in the face. A lot of people are scared to fail, but the truth is you just got to, I mean, what was the worst thing that happened? You didn't die, right? You figured it out. It got taken care of.
I cried.
That's okay.
I cried and I yelled at people. Not people, but I mean.
Yeah, you got to curl up in a ball, right? You got to, you curl up in a ball. You cry. You can cry, but you can only cry for like 5 minutes. Then you got to get up and then you got to attack.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's totally okay. Well, Sandy, here's the reality. It's great knowing you as a person. You're a great investor. You're a great realtor, but you're a better friend. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time out. Tell us a little bit about you. I do want to have you back on to talk about how this Airbnb is going to go. I want to hear more about how that team is going and how maybe, when you become a broker or did you already become a broker?
No, I haven't. I keep trying to apply. So they want me to take the license online and I don't want to do it online.
I don't blame you. Why not do it?
I like the rapport of the classroom.
Right.
I like the networking of the classroom. And so I feel like I'm a more hands-on person. Like I'm that girl in class and they're like, I know she didn't just ask that question again. Yes, I did. And so I really want to do the in-person class, but this year only one person signed up and they canceled the course. So I was hoping that I was going to be able to do it online. I was like, okay, let me do it online. But it's still busy for me. It's very busy for me where other agents are slowing down because I deal a lot with investment properties. We're in that time frame where investors have the capital gains thing. So they're selling, buying before the end of the year. And I'm still extremely busy. So I haven't made the time to take the broker's course. Once I am in a program with Urban League, a 12-week business program. And I think once that's over, I'm going to execute on getting my broker's license.
Yeah. I don't blame you for not, to wanting to do it in a classroom setting. That's how I took my license when I did it was at the classroom. I was able to meet people. I was able just to, again, be there. I'm a little bit ADHD, right? So it's like, if you're just in front of your computer, you might get off track and everything else. But when you're actually there, you have to learn, right? Because you're there, that's all there is. So I'm with you on that. But listen, that's the show for today. I just want to say thank you for coming and let's have you on again soon. Okay.
Thank you, Martin.
All right. We'll talk soon. Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.